Good evening. I am very late to the show. I've had a few technical problems, so there wasn't a show loaded, so we had to get it loaded, and then I can't get my news and adverts to upload. But anyway, it is Wednesday. It is just after 9 o'clock. A little bit late, and 6 minutes past 9. So I apologise for being late. I'm Toby Payne Cook. Ed Finch is going to join me very soon, and we are the Late Late Show on Wednesday, the 3rd of May, on Teachers Talk Radio, sponsored by John Catt Books. So please do join us. I'm sorry, Tim. Thank you. Well done. You are here. Tim is in. I've just got to WhatsApp Ed to tell him I'm ready. Okay, I'm in. So sorry about this. Bit stressed. I wasn't stressed earlier on. I think I was far too relaxed. Anyway, Lucy's in. Sorry for being late. And here is CPDCC Yaff. Here we are. We go.
We're only, well, it's all right. We're only 6 minutes late. Only 6 minutes.
All right.
Have all the people who normally listen to us tried to listen for 4 minutes and then knacked off? Are we by ourselves? No, Catherine Taylor has entered the live studio. Catherine, hello. Did you get here by mistake? Let us know.
Hello, Catherine. Hello, Catherine. Oh, I'm echoey.
Is that what it is? Have you been struggling with the technology?
Yeah, but oh no, my echo's gone now. I think I have been struggling with technology. I'm still struggling with loading the news. It's got that horrible spinny wheel thing, and I couldn't get our intro music to play.
Is it the new
No, it's nothing to do with my phone. It might be my new device. My phone has interfered with my Apple TV not Apple TV or something. I don't know. I don't think it is anything to do with my new phone at all. But yes, I have a new phone because my old one was smashed. Not against a rock like yours, though, Ed.
I think smashed is a little, I think, compromised against a rock rather than smashed. It suggests a certain degree of violence that wasn't there. I just sat very slowly on it.
Yes, true. That's what mine.
You cracked the screen and you had to say goodbye.
I had a hole in my pocket, a hole in my right-hand pocket where my phone normally lives, I put the phone in there without remembering it, and it fell through slipped down my trousers like a ferret in Compo's legs, and Compo Last of the Summer Wine reference, everybody, in case the wonderful Bill Owen, my dad used to love that program. Anyway, slipped down my leg like a ferret going backwards, and then landed on some gravel, and my case on my phone was kind of bust and compromised anyway, so it didn't have any protective purpose at all. And so I've got this kind of.
What have we learned? Come on, Toby.
I've learned that if your protective phone case breaks, get a new one. And I've also learned that that's all I've learned actually.
Trousers.
Yeah, true. It's weird for trousers. Some trousers are interesting things because they normally when they wear out, they either wear out in the arse or the knee first. Normally,
right knee, never
right knee. Yeah, right knee goes first.
Never the left knee, never the left. And why is that? Is that because I walk more confidently on my right? Is it because that's where I do all my kneeling? I don't know. But
I think it's when you're sitting down, you stroke your right knee pensively.
Oh, I do that. You're true. But then I'd have worn out my beard as well then, wouldn't I? If stroking pensively were enough to wear something out, I'd have a baldy chin. And I don't have a baldy
maybe human hair's harder wearing than cotton or
probably not,
but whatever.
Replaceable. Self-replacing, that's the system. They should do that with trousers. Self-replacing trousers. Like that Alec Guinness film that I enjoyed so much. You know the one.
The Self-Replacing Trousers, starring Alec Guinness.
The Man in the White Suit. That's the one.
That one, yes.
Terrific. What are we doing? So what are we doing here? Since we've wasted 10 minutes of the viewer's time already, because we're already a fifth of the way into the show.
Well, it's not a perfect start, is it? But shush.
Saw that. So we're talking about perfect days, aren't we?
Yeah, I think because this is Teachers Talk Radio, I think because it's Teachers Talk Radio, I think we should talk about what our perfect day at school, our perfect work day would look like first, could look like. And then because that will cause us to talk a little bit about teaching, and then
Okay.
a little later in the show we can indulge ourselves with a far more perfect type of day, which doesn't
Okay.
involve work.
Perfect day teaching. I mean, if only the children would sit, look. Oh, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to think of what the slant thing is. I was trying to get that one in.
Oh,
Oh, that
ding
was a very
ting.
loud ping, wasn't it? Was that you pinging?
Shall I turn it off? How do I do that? There is a
Was it?
switch.
Right.
Yeah.
My perfect day. I would like. I'd like it not to be rain. I don't want any wet breaks or wet lunches. I'm afraid. I want the children out playing, but not too hot because it gets very hot in our classrooms at
Mm.
Chadford Primary School. Because whoever designed them, if design is quite the word, put enormous, enormous, great big glass windows at the front, and the sun can beam in and cook a child, like that death ray the Greeks had that took out a whole trireme or whatever it is. It's extraordinary. So I would like it to be good weather for playing outside, but not too hot.
Yes.
And I'd like to be doing. I mean, I'm going to kick off in the morning. I'm probably going to do my maths first, aren't I? So, what's the best? If you want to, I mean, something like, I do know. You'd like to be teaching a bit of symmetry, wouldn't you, or something like
Oh,
that. Something's quite
would
fun.
you?
Oh, I
Yeah.
like a bit of
Okay.
symmetry. Count across, two squares across to the line of symmetry, and then two lines more, and put your mark. I love that, you know. Or like that. I don't know if do you know the Mystic Rose investigation. That's one of
The
my
Mystic
favourites.
Rose investigation. I don't know that. No.
Oh, it's lovely. It's all about triangular numbers, and oh, I love teaching triangular numbers. That's one of my favourite things to teach. There, maybe a nice
What
poetry lesson.
Pascal's triangle, or just cubic numbers, or triangular numbers. I
Well,
need
let
to.
me
I
say,
need.
I mean triangular numbers. So I'm talking three. I'm talking six. I'm talking 10. I'm talking 15. I'm
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Love those
Okay. Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah. 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 21. Yeah. 28. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That lot.
I love teaching those because you can do so much with that. You could do you could do that. Different. How many different ways do we need? Do you know the shaking hands one? Oh, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to bore the audience, but I love teaching a bit of that. And then it's playtime, isn't it? And it's outdoor, and it's not my duty. It's not my duty because it's my perfect day. But I might go outside. I might just sit on a rock, and because we've got rocks at Chagford, and I might just sit on a rock and watch the children play. And there won't be a rock, and I won't have to phone anyone's parents because it's a perfect day.
Yeah.
What's for lunch on a perfect day at school? I think it might be roast day. That's got to be That's a Wednesday. I mean, it is most
Oh,
places.
messy plates at the end though.
That's not
Clearing
a problem.
plates.
I'm not on duty. I am on a Wednesday, so I've got to find some reason why I'm not.
It doesn't have
Uh,
to be a Wednesday. Your perfect day. It could be a
can I just?
Friday. It could be a Monday. It could be a.
I'm saying
It
it has
could
to
be a.
be Wednesday. It has to be Wednesday because it's a roast. You get roast on a Wednesday. You can't just play
Okay.
willy nilly. You can't say it's a
But you
Monday,
you
but we're
could
having
change the
roast.
rules.
Because you
It's a
say
perfect day. Have a
no,
roast on a Thursday for a change.
no, you can't do that. Not unless
Ban
it's
fish on
sensible.
Friday.
In which
Ban
case,
fish on
all
Friday.
rules are wrong. I
Have a
don't think
roast
I
on
like.
Friday.
I'd rather have the roast on Friday. To be honest with you, school fish and chips. Lots of people who have packed
Yeah.
lunches Monday to Thursday go for a school dinner on Friday just so they can have the fish and chips. But no, in fact, I remember when he was at primary school, my son petitioning to be allowed to have school dinners on a Friday so he could have the fish and chips. And by week two, saying actually they're really not worth it, but can I have the Wednesday instead? Which I respected. But he'd already parlayed that he was going to have a school dinner one day a week, and then it's like, yeah, the fish and chips ain't worth it, mate. It's not really. It's not like having fish and chips, is it? So no, so I'm going to have the roast, but I'm not on duty, so I don't have to worry about the gravy stains.
Okay.
Afternoon. We have a DT lesson. Shall we make wheeled vehicles? That's always fun.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Now it is Wednesday, so of course that means it's staff meeting. But this week it's been cancelled for I don't know a very good reason, or maybe we have a fun one. Maybe we have a staff meeting like where I go. Tell you what we can do is we're all gonna for staff meeting. We're all gonna go into the forest school area, aren't we? And then we're all gonna
Yeah.
sit around a fire pit and drink beer and eat crisps. That's our staff meeting because it's very important for help me out. It's very important for well-being.
You're eating crisps around the fire pit.
That staff meeting, drinking beer and eating crisps. We could, we could branch out into marshmallows if the staff are feeling that way, but I don't want to put pressure on them.
I think you might not be. You're describing a living hell right now. You're not describing a perfect day.
Is that a living hell? Which bit of that is not
I mean,
perfect? What?
eating marshmallows around a fire pit with lots of beer is great on holiday, on a holiday perfect day. But I'm not
Right.
sure that's a staff meeting perfect day. And why would you have a staff meeting on a perfect day anyway?
Well, fair enough. Because I like my colleagues. How about we don't have staff meeting, but we tip up to the pub?
Up to the pub, yes, yes. Pub
Pub
after
afterwards.
work. Maybe,
Because we
maybe
normally
you
do that on a
maybe you're
Friday.
celebrating something, and
We do it. Yeah.
you've got the school, you've got the fictional, mythical, affluent school, well-funded school credit card behind the bar, and you are getting
Oh,
lashed with your colleagues
right.
on a
It's all
Friday
right.
night.
I just put it on Sports Premium. It'll be fine. No one checks. Um,
Sports
that's
premium.
a joke. I didn't say that.
Okay. Yeah,
I kind
good.
of
Well,
missed out
Ed,
on the bits I was meant to say. I was meant to say, oh, it would be great if I go into the staff room at lunchtime. We'd just sit around, we'd talk about pedagogy. It would be great. And somebody will recommend a really good bit of research for me to read, because as you know, I'm an aficionado of educational research. Nothing I like more. So if we just go back a bit and slip that in, so I sound a bit more intellectual and a bit less about the beer and the DT. I love the DT though. There's not enough of DT. We need to get it back.
I don't know. We're
Right.
talking about DT. I was talking about DT the other day. I think that I'm going to be a bit controversial. I think DT is a wonderful thing, but
Right.
we've sort of made. I'm not sure about it. It's very popular with the STEM thing, and I get it if you are if you're really a design freak or a bit techie or a bit engineering, and that's the kind of direction you're going in, or a bit product designy, the sort of design end of art, the kind of and the sort of design end of engineering. I get it as a sort of important um, deviation from the old fashioned exam subjects. However, um, it's become a sort of subject, and I think but because I suppose we don't have manual labor in woodwork and manual labor in metalwork anymore, but I just think that children who are quite young, like I'm going up to 13 here, or maybe up to 14 even, and saying that that doing making things, just making things, or building things without having to sort of put a PowerPoint together, or write lots of designy stuff, is quite a nice distraction from all that other sort of. I think the making into an academic accessible
Yeah.
subject. I have some difficulty with that.
Okay. Well, we'll just do an afternoon of junk modelling then, because we'll still make wheeled vehicles,
Yeah,
and we won't
junk
have
modeling's
to
good,
try
but
and do them.
but it's your perfect day, not mine. I'm not. If that's your perfect thing, I think yeah, go for it, Ed. Right,
Okay.
I'm going
Yours.
to.
Right. Yours.
Well, I haven't planned any of this. I think I would like a perfect work day to first of
Yes.
all. It's all about mood, isn't it? If I'm in a good mood for whatever reason, and the children are in a good mood. You're right. The weather's important. The weather is important. We don't want freak winds. We don't want snow. We don't want
I do
blistering
quite like it.
sunshine. We also definitely don't want any rain, or whether it's Devon Mizzle or full on thunderstorm. So we just want a kind of a mild or a warm spring day, and we don't want it to be the first warm spring day, because that's a sort of distraction. So I think we want people to be feeling happy because the sun's shining. People, are in a good mood, and we don't. I suppose I want the children in that I'm teaching, um, to not have had any, as you've said, not to have had any trauma at home in the morning, or trauma in the recent days, in a sort of family sense, or in a I don't want any falling outs or bickering. So everyone's in a good mood, and for whatever reason, and that just makes it all go much better, doesn't it? So I don't really mind what I'm teaching. I just think I want the lessons to be. I quite like one of the lessons I teach on a perfect day to be one of those glorious lessons where you've sort of got a plan, but it's not very, very, it's not, you haven't really planned a great lesson, but it sort of turns into a great lesson spontaneously because of a question a child asks,
Oh,
or I sort of turn on a sixpence where you think, oh, yes, that's what we could explore, or we could think about that, or I know, just go into my magic cupboard, or get something out, or just write something on the board, or we just do something that suddenly feels like, yeah, we're all in this together, and it just sort of clicks, the sort of spontaneous, um, you know, when something don't matter the subject, whether it's science or maths or art or English, but it would probably be science for me. Um, and then so I'd like that. I think I'd like my perfect day to include, this is a bit of an ego thing, but where someone makes me feel good, so a child or a parent of a child or my manager, my boss, my line manager, or the head, or someone comes up and just says something nice, just praises me. It doesn't matter whether it's in public; it can be just a very simple thing.
well, that
It
would
could
be
just
nice.
that
I
that
mean,
would be that's a nice part of a perfect day. I think I had that the other day. A parent of a younger child at school who I've not taught formally in the classroom, but she comes to my young farmers club, which I'm running this term. She came to a junior science club last term, an after school sort of club thing, and they said, "We can't believe you're going. We're really sad and a bit ego waxing. You were instrumental when we came round and saw the school. You were part of our decision of sending child X here and stuff, and so that's quite that something like that, which just makes you think, yeah, I'm doing the right job. I'm making a difference to that
I tell
one
you what,
child, that one family. Um,
I'm not
and,
convinced that I had the perfect day today. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't perfect. But a small child came into the year six classroom where I was teaching, and he saw that I was wearing a cardboard crown, and he laughed with such absolute abandon and such joy that I
yeah,
thought, I have done one good thing today. I have made that small child happy simply by wearing a cardboard crown. Uh, that was. I mean, if you get one of those in a day, it's pretty good, isn't it? So,
exactly. I think so. I think so. I don't think I've got the perfect school day. Yeah, lessons go well. There's no children are attentive and enthusiastic and not intentionally disruptive. There's a general air of positivity in most lessons. If there is a little bit of a ruction or a disagreement, it dissipates very very quickly. And
yeah, pretty well.
and there's a bit of praise involved, and there's a bit of spontaneity. I think that's it. I think a perfect day. I said that to you earlier on when we were planning the show, which we do, for several hours each week. As listeners need to know that Ed and I have a 3 hour planning meeting on Sundays generally, to sort of sort out the week's show. And then we have a production meeting on Tuesday night, and it's really formal and organised. But I do think that sometimes you plan a really great lesson and it doesn't work that well, whereas you don't plan much of a lesson and it can work really well, but just because everything kind of clicks. So I think that applies to a perfect day. So you can plan a perfect day, but actually the weather might be wrong, or your mood might for whatever reason not be quite right. And so I think the day's got to reflect the mood of everybody. There you go. So that's my perfect work day. Is those sort of things are going to happen. Lunch is important though. You're right. Um, uh, I like sweet corn. I like sweet corn with lots of butter. I would like that with my lunch. I
Well,
don't cook that for
you can have it.
myself very often.
You can have it.
Um, and yeah, I haven't really. Yeah, I think
I think we've
I
covered
wouldn't
that.
have a
We've
staff
covered
meeting on a
plenty of
perfect day. I
that.
wouldn't have a staff meeting. I mean, staff meetings can be good. I mean, they're not always bad, but they can feel rather ineffective for large chunks of the time
Not often
sometimes.
the right way to get the information over. I would feel that we might be letting the side down a bit. We should probably have said more about pedagogy, but I think what actually we've nailed is the bit that makes our jobs good is the spontaneity, it's the relationships, it's I know that thing that when it's going well and you're in a good mood and the kids are in a good mood, it's all good, isn't it? It's all good then.
Yeah,
That's the bit where you go, oh, best job in the world, best job in the world, isn't it? Teaching, best job in the world. You know, we had this brilliant lesson and the kids asked this great question and I went down this little rabbit hole, but it was brilliant.
yeah,
Those we like those. I do think,
absolutely.
with the, with it seems to never end. It doesn't seem to ever end. You keep thinking the craze for scripted lessons is going to peak, and then somebody, that bubble will burst, and they'll go, "Oh no, actually, we really do need humans who can do this job." It's a human job. It turns out, but yeah, every time I see a scripted lesson, I think that all those little rabbit holes that you might have gone down that might have just been inspiring, even just to one of the children.
Mm.
You're closing them off. I find out very hard to live with. I like that thing of like, yeah, I've got this lesson planned, but do you know what? That was such a great question. I've got to go off on it. And do you know what? It makes me think of this. Why don't we try that? You can't do it all the time because you've got to deliver your
No,
core knowledge. But yeah,
but
that
is
space for
is being
spontaneity. If it's not there, then you might as well just script everything. And I don't think that does anyone any favors. I think that's
no.
de-skilling.
It is de-skilling. It's de-skilling, and it's demotivating, and it's devaluing.
Depressing.
But it's depressing. But cynically and
Hmm.
skeptically, and I don't think this stuff has been planned in a dark room somewhere in Whitehall, but it may have been. It may have been. Is that we are heading towards a more AI centric world. So
Hmm.
we will, so maybe the whole scripted lesson direction that we're going in, very specific curricula, very specific tests, um and you know you could you could you could see that it's just kind of like we're heading towards that roboticized sort of thing, so that we can easily just sort of kill the teaching profession and move it over to sort of knowledge, AI machines to teach kids, and that of course dehumanizes it. And the very thing that makes humans wonderful is that we are human, and we are emotional beings, and we have feelings and complexity, and that's what learning and life is all about. It's not about that sort of neatly packaged um scripted lesson knowledge, is it? So it's tricky. It's a big one, big one. What Maxim's just mentioned something about Phil Beadle. He was in talking with Tom Rogers on, and I
Yes,
haven't.
on this very radio station. So tread
Yes,
carefully, my friend. Yeah.
and about slant, and I but a friend of mine who I used to work with, he sent it to me and told me to watch it. I'll listen to it so that we could talk about it later. So I have no idea what happened, and what Phil Beadle said or didn't say, and I don't know. So I probably don't really want to go down that rabbit hole now, because
Well, we
I'm
could
quite
talk
keen to talk.
about the other Beadle. What was he called? The Beadle's about.
Jeremy,
Could talk about Jeremy Beadle because
are they
all these.
related?
I doubt it. I mean, I don't know. It might be. I suppose Beadle, is that a common name? Beadle is a job, isn't it? I think it's a job name. So, like Smith, it's a job
Or
name. So,
Cooper?
well, Cooper is a good example. Can you think of any more? Wheelwright, not such a common name. Um,
Finch, like a
Raptor,
bird.
isn't it? Finch, yeah, well, that's not a job name. But there's a lot of Finches around. I don't know why we
Cook,
all got. Maybe we were
Cook.
Finches. Maybe we called Finches. Cook, is your Cook a job name? Do you think?
My
I don't
cook
know.
was a carpenter. The go back two, three generations. I think no two, no 4 generations
4 generations of Cook was a carpenter. If you go
before the
back further
plane was
than
added.
that, yes,
Yeah,
true,
go back
true.
further than that. Definitely a cook.
Anyway, let's not talk about Phil Beadle and Tom Rogers on this railway station, radio station, because I think the whole thing's had enough publicity, and I think you can approach it from various angles and say that one or other of the people involved were playing a game. I don't know. I'm not going to go into it.
My
Anyway.
head, but it's brilliant. Not really paying any attention to Twitter. That I have no idea what happened. So there we go. We're not going to go down. Right, perfect day. Um, have we said
I
enough
felt
about a teaching day? We have, haven't we?
yeah. I think so. And so far as neither of us clearly had either thought about it or had much to say on the subject, we just like wanted to. I'd do things which I quite like. I'll tell you what. Lesson one: I'll eat a crunchy. Do you remember crunchies? They were great.
Crunchies. I like crunchies. They're a bit sweet now, aren't they? But I do like
Yeah,
the honeycomb. Yeah, the honeycomb middle.
make
Really good.
it
Right. Okay.
filling, singing away. They didn't win
Right.
you a five. It's great.
Come on then, Ed. Before I
Yeah,
can't go to the news anyway. So before we go to the metaphorical news,
yeah,
um, I want you to describe a a perfect day, not like the perfect day, just a perfect
yeah,
sort of rest day. Not it doesn't have to be. This
yeah.
is not the all singing, all dancing, trying to pack in every possible hobby, interest, friend, love affair, whatever, into
I
one
know.
day. This is just a nice
A
day.
possible and practical one is what you
Yeah.
want. You were saying a sort of rest. So I'm going to wake up. Now, I'm not going to oversleep because I'm cross with myself when I oversleep because I think that you've wasted the day. So I'd like to wake up, please, about. Oh, I'm going to wake up about 7:30.
Okay.
That's good, and I'm going to be out of bed by 8. Now, I'm going to have to add a little element of fantasy here, but not just yet. I think I'm going to have my bath. I love having a bath in the morning.
Yes, I'm with you totally. That would be how my perfect day starts because in my house, so yeah, exactly, not fictionalizing it. The sun shines through in the east, through my skylight in my bathroom. It's lovely.
That sounds lovely. Okay, so I'm going to get up at 7:30, run a bath. My bath takes a long time to run, so I've got time to go downstairs, make a cup of tea, eat a slice of toast, pack it back upstairs, check on the bath. Probably not full yet, but I might get in before it's full. It's fine. And I'm fine with that. I'm not one of these people that have to wait. I just like let the bath carry on running. That way, you don't run too much water and doesn't go out the plug hole when you get in. You see,
Yeah.
so do that. I might listen to a podcast. Maybe I quite enjoy listening to a podcast. Ideally, I would like maybe a new Adam Buxton.
Oh,
Maybe quite enjoy an Adam Buxton podcast, or I might listen to. If I didn't listen to it on the Friday, I might listen to Take with Mark Kermode and Simon Mayo. Always enjoy
mm.
that. Anyway, a nice podcast. Maybe no such thing as a fish. I'm not. Could be anything. I'll get up now. This time, this is where the fantasy gets in because in my fantasy, it's about 9 o'clock ish now, and it'll never happen. But my son is waking up and he's going, "Oh, Dad, shall we go to the Baobab for breakfast?" Now,
Oh,
normally I would have
oh,
just,
yes, I love that place. I've only been
I love that
once.
place. Yeah, yeah, no, I love it. We do go. So far, this is a very feasible day. But I mean, yeah, we will get up. I'll say, yeah, come on, let's go. Get up. We'll go down there. He's never been out of bed before on a Saturday, but let's just pretend. So we'll go down to Baobab and we'll have. I think basically you want the Moroccan breakfast myself,
You
which
do.
is it's an omelette, a bit of merguez, some hummus, some nice flatbread, and a lovely salad. Oh, I love that. And I might have. I'm not quite sure whether I should have the Persian Paradise smoothie, which is very, very cleansing, or shall I just have a flat white? Maybe I'll have the Persian Paradise smoothie and then go next door to the Crediton Coffee Company and have a flat white there. It's pushing the boat
Oh,
out, but I might do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And then I'll go up the road and over the road to the bookshop, which is the Bookery.
yeah.
I think, yeah. And I might have a chat to Dee if she's behind the counter. Have a chat to Dee, maybe let myself buy a book or two. Might buy a new picture book to use in assembly next week, and a lovely volume of poetry because I love a lovely volume of
I
poetry. So I
do.
could
Yeah, I
do that.
haven't bought that book yet, but yeah, you do. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah. This is sounding perfect, Ed. I mean,
it's
I
a
don't
cracking
think I
day,
need
isn't
to
it?
respond because you're basically
I might
describing my
go.
perfect chill day.
I mean, I might pop across to the hardware store. I mean, this isn't really a perfect day, but it's just like you
Oh,
always need something from the hardware store, don't you? So I might pop in and get some, rug cleaner maybe, or some pegs for the washing line. But I like it because it's a hardware store, and it's life is always good in a hardware store. There's just like looking at the marvelous things like that egg slicer device you can only buy in hardware stores. Love it. Um, I think I've got time now to wander home, and I'm wondering whether I should drive north to the north coast
oh,
and maybe go to. Well, I could go along to Bude or to Sandymouth or even down to Widmouth, or I might go straight up and I go maybe I might swing by your house,
yeah.
and we might go up for a little walk around Heartland. What do you think?
Wow. Yeah, I think we might do that.
I mean,
Yeah,
we do
lovely.
that. We do that a few. I mean, I say we probably do that 4 or 5 times a year, don't we? So that's not an
Yeah.
outlandishly perfect day. Have a bit of
No.
walk, and if it's a nice day, we might have a swim.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll have a walk. I think maybe around Bucks Mills.
Yeah. And
Maybe
then
have a
swim
walk
around Bucks
around there,
Mills.
and then have a bit of a swim,
Yeah.
and then. Do you fancy coming into Exeter? Shall we drive down and you come down to Exeter and we'll get
I'll come
something to
back to
eat?
Exeter with you. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
come down. We'll go into Exeter. We'll get something nice like some tapas or something, and then have a chat and some beers. I think
Yeah.
that'd be nice. And
And
then we'll
maybe
have.
go and see the Bug Club playing in the cavern.
Oh, we can see the Bug Cup playing, okay, and we might persuade Rachel or someone to come with us, so we got some extra company for that.
Yeah, and we'd have a cheeky mosh with strangers.
Ah, cheeky mosh with a stranger. Okay, well, it's going to be late when we get kicked out of that, so I'm afraid we're going to have to get the bus back. We'll both be a wee bit tiddly and giggly, but we'll go to the bus station.
Tiddly and giggly.
We
Lovely.
might be a bit
Lovely.
tiddly and giggly. Get back to my house a little bit later than we should. Oh, do you reckon we took Douglas into Exeter to see this band? I reckon we did. Yeah,
I
and then
reckon we did. I reckon he realised that there was life beyond King Crimson and Pink Floyd.
Oh no, I think he'd love it. I think he'd love it. There's a moment you
Yeah.
can't get him because he's revising for his GCSEs and he's very determined he's going to do very well. So at the moment he's not really inclined to leave the house. Every moment lost revising is a chance that he won't do as well as his rivals. But anyway,
Yes.
never mind. He's going to come into town with us, and we'll have a sort of band and some drinks and giggles, and then he will see us onto the bus home. You see, he'll see us on the
Yes.
bus home. So we could be quite drunk because we know that Douglas is very responsible and will get us onto the bus and get us back to the house. When we get back to the house, I'm thinking that we discover that there's a bottle of whiskey on the table.
This is not the chill day. This is beyond perfect. This is we've discovered God and we've ascended
But
to heaven.
it's entirely fair. The only thing that we've said there, which isn't sort of like directly possible, is that we can't guarantee that Bug Club will be playing, but we can guarantee
No,
that
but
there'll be
a
something like
band
that.
will be playing a band of some sort.
Yeah,
It'll be yeah.
that is close to perfect, isn't it?
That's perfect. Yeah, totally. I mean, I would think that the I totally agree with you on the morning bath. And if I was living in your house in Crediton, going for breakfast at Orchestra Baobab or the Baobab Cafe or whatever it's called,
Yeah,
yeah, and then wander around, chatting in the bookshop, browsing a bookshop, and just I think that's a lovely thing in your local community,
yeah.
whether it's just in the paper shop, in the newsagents, just having a little morning chat with the person when buying a news. I think that's quite nice for me on my chill morning.
Yeah.
Would probably I don't have a lovely cafe like you on my door. So I do have quite a nice bakery, which
Hmm.
does a cafe actually, but I don't
Oh, I
really
love a
use it
bakery.
very often because I'm quite happy cooking my own fry up. So I think, but I think
I
walking
mean, if
out to
you want to
buy a
come and cook a
paper,
fry out, if you want to cook a fry out, that's fine. That's fine. We can go to Baobab for lunch a bit later,
yeah.
but we might run out of time for our walk. That's the
But I
thing.
think I think I've got quite used to sort of for my chill days being quite solitary. So I think that walking around and chatting to people because I live on my own, and if the children aren't with me, so I was thinking more of that aspect in the mornings of the morning starting, and so it's quite important to have human contact with either in the bookshop or in um, I think. Or just perhaps buying a paper, coming back and reading that after breakfast or over
Oh,
breakfast.
that's nice. No, I like that.
That's
I
quite
tell you
nice.
what, if it's a lovely day, I'd love to sit out. I've got a table out the back. I don't know
Just
if
sit
you've ever.
outside with the sun on me and on my decking or whatever. Yeah,
Oh, I love that. On my paving, I did my paving over a year ago now, and I've not really had the use out of it because it's not been the weather. But I love sitting at my little table. I've got
yeah.
one of those extendy umbrella-y things. Oh, I love it.
I think there's sort of three ways to start the perfect day. Really, one the best way. This is more of a holiday perfect day for me. Is to start with a morning swim with you, my friend Ed. I mean, there would be to make it even more perfect. That story I told you about the young walker walking to her friend's wedding who just dipped down and swam at Bucks Mills. That would make it even more perfect to sort of swim with a mermaid, perhaps. But you're second best, Ed. Um, uh, so I think a more, like to get up and go for a swim shortly after sunrise. So you want a spring or an autumn sunrise, but with the sun sort of rising on the water. When you're swimming out to sea, the sea is blue because the sky is blue. When you're swimming back into shore, the sea is green because the trees on the cliffs are green. And just it's quite a calm morning swim, a fairly early morning swim. So the sea is at Bucks Mills is kind of flat, and you can just, and because I'm quite flat sea, fat body, I can sort of float quite well. I have lots of buoyancy, and just enjoy being in the water and feeling it. And that's why the early autumn's good, because it's warm. The water is warm then, so you can just enjoy being in that, and then get out. I think then go back and have breakfast and read a bit. But so that's one way of starting the perfect day. Another way of starting a perfect day is with a good walk, but after breakfast, because you need a bit of fuel for that. And a good walk, or is do some writing. If one's into some writing, I think the morning's the best time to write, because the brain is freshest and clearest and possibly brimming with ideas from the sleep before. Or there is the social sort of brunch thing, isn't there? Meet up with some friends, or take your kids and go to have a sort of late breakfast at Baobab Cafe, or some sort of brunchy kind of venue, with good friends, or your children, or your lover, or your wife, or your husband, or your whatever. Yeah, that's nice. That's good ways to start the day. Good ways to end the perfect day. I like cooking. I like cooking for friends, and then drinking a lot of red wine with whatever I've cooked, and chatting and laughing, and maybe some port and cheese to round it all off. Not too much so that I feel totally destroyed the next day, but a lot so that I'm I think that sort of stuff. Yeah. So walking, swimming, um, browsing bookshops, browsing record shops, little bit of conversation with bookish experts or musical collecting experts. Um, that's all good. Maybe going to a local butcher or a local baker, and bit of old fashioned traditional shopping, not supermarket shopping. Definitely supermarket shopping is not involved in my perfect day. No way. Are you still
Yes,
there, Ed?
I'm still here. No, I'm letting you rattle on.
Uh, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
supermarkets. I have to say, I the scales have fallen from my eyes. I get Gusto delivered now, and I do think I spend less money because I just don't buy stuff that ends up going in the compost bin.
yeah.
Easy meals, nice to cook, easy peasy, and I don't have to spend hours at the supermarket at the weekend. I got my weekend back by going with Gusto. It's an advert. I shouldn't say that. Other cardboard boxes are also available, but
Yeah,
yeah. But
I
if you're going
think
for the
that's it.
anti-perfect day, what I don't want to do with my weekend, I don't want to do any housework. If I can
No,
avoid it, I hate
I
lifting
don't want
fingers.
to do any hoovering. I don't want to do any dusting. I,
I
I,
don't want
I
to. Don't
don't,
like
I
it.
don't mind washing up a few pots and pans and plates
Oh,
that
it is a
I've
deep freezer.
used, but not that many. Um, I don't want to hang out any washing. Hanging out washing is the devil's work.
Mhm.
I hate hanging out washing. I mean, putting washing in a washing machine is okay. I think it's the most tedious chore of all for me. I mean, I don't iron anymore. I've given up on ironing. I've renounced ironing. I might have to iron shirts next year. I don't think I
Oh
will, but
no.
I'll try and get away with it. Um, but yeah, but just hanging out washing, I find really quite tedious. I don't know why. It doesn't take very long, but it's sort of
Oh, see, pure tedium. Pure
yeah.
tedium.
Um, I don't have a tumble dryer, which would remove that thing. But then tumble dryers aren't good at the moment, are they? With energy prices as they are, and the planet in crisis. Um, so yeah, I think we are broadly agreed. I think a morning swim or a morning walk, a morning bath, um, a nice sort of interaction with your local shops and cafes and pubs, a live band potentially, dinner with friends. I think I prefer eating in than eating out with friends because you just get more bang for your buck. It costs a lot to eat out, whereas you can have three really nice dinners with friends for the same price as you can cook three really nice dinners for friends, you know, for the same sort of price as you can have one meal out. Really.
Hmm. I'll tell you what,
So
I would very much like a nice dinner at my table. So I didn't put this on because we went into extra and we saw a band, but I would really like my big table and maybe another table jammed on the end and about 7 or 8 good friends around it,
yeah,
possibly a couple of bottles of wine, some easy eating food, like a big Beef bourguignon or something. So like just not
yeah,
fancy, but
one
just
pot, one pot.
one great big one pot and laughter and talking and the people passing the bottle around and maybe the guitar comes out later. I haven't
Yeah,
done that in a long time. We need to do a bit more of that.
we do. It's a
As
shame we don't live nearer to each other because
a
you
species, we need more of that. I'm saying not you and me. I mean, we can. That's fine, but I feel like there's not been enough of that late.
no, but I think I don't think I think that might be it might be a post-COVID thing. It might be a stressful teacher thing. It
Oh, is
might
it?
be a not paid well enough energy prices kind of thing. But
Oh, I think
I
it's
think it
mostly
might be a bit of
COVID.
an
I think
English
it's
thing. I don't think
yeah,
we're very good
yeah.
at doing that. I think we've become a bit, you know, I don't know. TV's taken over and box sets and I don't know. I'm not sure. I think we used to do more of that as a society than we do now, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a good lot of it is being a parent, and a good lot of it is,
Yeah,
you know, is COVID as well. So we can get it back. We can have that. We can
yeah.
have that. It's all right.
I've still got. I'm just looking at my control panel here, my screen in the Podbean live, in the studio with my boom microphone and the red light. Don't come in, and the posse in the background, and I am still seeing the green sticky spiral of death where it's next to news 29th of April to the 5th of May. So
Don't they give you a text one?
they could do. I might go and have a little look on the Slack. Yes, let's go and have a little look. Okay, news. Okay, do I have this script? No, I can't find it. This is teachers talk. Oh, here we go. View transcript. Okay. Um, I'm going to read you the news. How about that? Can I do that?
Go on, read it. Yes. No. I'm waiting. Bring it on.
Oh my gosh. This it says so you can time me, Ed. Time me.
Okay.
Um it says 6 minutes 58 seconds. I'm
Okay.
gonna see if I can read it faster than that.
Okay. Ready? One.
Okay.
Get set. Go.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News, as is due to ballot members. For the first time in its history, the four education unions will ballot over strike action this term, and if backed by members, would see action. Am I reading the right news? Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know.
And if backed by members, would see action stretching into next year and could lead to full school closures. The government continues to hold its position that the most recent pay offer is fair and reasonable, and that next year's school funding will be at its highest level in history. Schools Week covers the further implications of school funding issues in a story about the cuts some head teachers are making. In a survey conducted by the National Foundation for Education Research for the Sutton Trust, it was found that schools are cutting back on school trips, teaching assistant, and IT equipment to help balance stretched budgets. Responses from 1,428 primary and secondary teachers show 50% of senior leaders said their school had cut back on trips and outings this year. Schools in the most disadvantaged areas were most likely to be impacted by cuts to trips. The research suggests that in secondary schools, leaders are also cutting back on subject choices at both GCSE and A-level. The Department for Education has estimated schools overall could afford 2.4 billion in new spending between 2022 and 2024 before facing net pressure on their budgets. But the Confederation of School Trusts warned its members could face a prolonged period of financial challenge due to pay rises and other increasing costs if more funding was not forthcoming. The Sutton Trust poll also showed that some school leaders are using pupil premium funding to plug budget gaps. The report also underlines the issue of recruitment into the sector, with the NFAR, is that correct? Predicting that NFER, isn't it? Maybe predicting that the DFE will again miss its recruitment into initial teacher training target this year. Meanwhile, the TEs, the TS, the TEs focused on ADFE funding rule change. Sorry, don't understand. Change to help schools hit by falling pupil numbers due to a decline in birth rate. Schools that are not rated good or outstanding will be eligible for additional funding. Other charges will be introduced from 2024 to 25. Councils will set expectations around the minimum funding they must provide to support schools with significant increases in pupil numbers. Schools will. Hang on, I'm slightly losing this transcript. It's not making as much coherent sense as it being read out, I don't think. Anyway, falling more than one site will also receive extra funding where they need to duplicate services over multiple sites. Falling birth rates mean that there are projected to be 500,000 fewer pupils in English state nurseries and primaries in 2028 compared with 2022. Nurseryworld.co.uk reports on the findings of its recent survey into staff wellbeing around Ofsted inspections. In the article on its website, it reports that over 3,000 owners, managers and staff responded to questions around mental health and wellbeing and the impact of inspections. Many responded that they felt increased stress and anxiety in the run up to an inspection, with many having sleepless nights and some suffering from panic attacks and depression. The possibility of losing funding should a setting be judged inadequate was also mentioned. Full details of the survey can be found on the Nursery World website. The Guardian reports that a record figure of 4.8 billion interest has been added to student debt in Britain last year. The government has more than doubled the amount of money it makes from charging interest on student loans, as graduates face borrowing costs of almost twice the rate set by the Bank of England. The Office for National Statistics said that accrued interest has doubled from 2.3 billion in the previous year. The forecast average debt among the cohort of students who started their course in 21-22 is £45,800 when they complete their course. Finally, the Morning Star in Scotland reports the increased spending per school pupil is failing to deliver improved outcomes. Spending per pupil has risen to 8,500 in Scotland, compared with around 7,200 across England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But attainment in Scotland is not on a similarly rising trajectory. Research by the Institute of Fiscal Studies shows that despite having the highest spending per pupil across the UK for a long period, test scores in reading, maths and science have either stayed the same or have been going down. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox. There is a tech briefing, a 2-minute tech with Steve Woods. Gosh, you must be fed up with listening to me by now. Ed, have you run away? He has. He's run away.
I muted myself because I didn't want you to be interrupted in your flow. That was some of the best radio we've ever put out. People radio, and it gives you extra respect for the people who normally read this stuff, isn't it?
It does. It does. Fair play. It's quite hard. But I'm not going to do Steve's 2 minutes tech because Steve speaks super fast and he's very knowledgeable on tech.
And it's always Control C, Control V, isn't it? So if you just say Control C, Control V, basically you've done it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to do the I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry about the 2 minute tech. It's not happening. But also apparently there's no adverts this week. I don't know whether that means that Teachers Talk Radio is no longer sponsored by John Catt Radio, the John Catt Books. But it used to be. So let's just say John Cat make this all possible, everybody. Or they did once. I don't know if they still do. Anyway,
It was the Wither Slack group. Wither Slack group were with us for ages.
it was the Wither Slack group. Yeah.
And then wasn't it one of the phonics outfits for a while?
It was. There's been a few. Yeah.
Anyway,
we're not. Oh, sugar.
What? No, I don't think they advertised.
Oh, we are still on. I thought I'd closed it. Hello. Right. What we've got 10 minutes left and we want to do some music. But we did start late, but I'm very happy to finish on time because you're tired and it's Wednesday night and there's a lot of term to go before we get to half term. And there's SATs coming up in primary school land. How's all that, Ed? How's all that?
Well, I mean, I'm not.
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help
Thank you, Siri. Siri doesn't have an answer for that. I'm quietly confident on the year 6 SATs. They're going to be good this year. We're going to knock it out of the park. Not quite so confident on anything else, but if we focus on the year 6 SATs, it'll be great.
Year 6 SATs, you've got a strong positive cohort who are going to kick it out of the park.
Amazing this term. Even if they don't all convert it to 100, scaled score, they've come so far this year. I could not be more proud. Exceptional teaching, exceptional teacher, exceptional group of children who've come from, trailing ARE to nailing ARE. I'm very proud of them. Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Phonics check. Least said about that, the better.
Okay. What's going on here? Who's Energy Divine? Hi, Energy Divine. They've been commenting a lot.
They've been commenting a great deal, yeah. I like Energy Divine. He's got a very strong, positive energy. No SATs for me. Year 6 residential week, says Maxim. Lucky you, mate. I've been newer to it now. I've been doing it long enough that I just think it's what happens. And it's amazing how quickly we got used to it again after the end of the pandemic, wasn't it? It's like, oh, it's May. It must be SATs. Doesn't tell us anything we don't know, and by the time we get the results back, it's too late to do anything with them. So it's not really for the child, is it? Who's it for? Shall we say it's for the DFE, or is it a stick with the mat to beat me with? I don't know, but it doesn't do me any favours. It doesn't do the kids any favours. However, if we can do well in it this year, thank you. I'll add that. I'll take that. I don't mind.
Yeah. So I don't know if people have enjoyed, those of you who are going to listen back to this who have no opportunity to contribute in the chat, but those of you who are still listening and who've joined us, thank you very much for listening to Ed and I talk about some of our perfect day activities. We could throw in a few more perfect day activities or thoughts or feelings, but has anyone got any questions or comments for us in the chat? Have you got anything more you would like to say about a perfect day or perfect place that you would like to visit on your perfect day, Ed? I think it's important to...
Oh, sorry, I thought you were just talking to the people of Radio Land.
I don't know, I'm just talking to the air.
I would like to see some... You know what, I feel like, okay, I didn't mention my family, right? True, I don't really see my family very much because I just don't. So I should have thrown in that. So if we can add in seeing some family, that would make me look good, I think. And also, it'd be nice to see Kate. If we can organise that, to get Kate down for the day, she could come for a walk with us. That'd be right.
Absolutely. I think my challenge,
loved ones,
which is a nice challenge to have, is that I have a very large and wide family in the sense that I've got all these elder half brothers and sisters who are like my brothers and sisters.
Fair enough, you can say it.
And
wide family.
And they're sort of dotted all over the place, and I'm very fond of all of them in different ways. And then I've got lots of good friends from different walks of life, different stages of life, and when trying to plan a summer holiday, now that I'm single, I'm divorced, I want to spend time with my children. I want them, but I also want to spend time apart from my children because they want to spend time apart from me, and I want to do nice things like go to festivals and live concerts, and I want to see friends, but I also want to have some solitary walking time, some nice swimming time, and it's hard to fit it all in. So sometimes I think that's one of my challenges, is that the perfect day is perhaps not jam-packed. The perfect week, the perfect holiday is perhaps not jam-packed.
I didn't get to do any lino on my perfect day, did I? No, it's not.
No, you need a bit of flow time. You need a bit of just chill time with where it's not all frenetic. And a bit of introspection and a bit of like just wondering at the beauty of nature or art or music or whatever it is that rocks your boat. Anyway, Ed, what are you going to play us?
Okay. There were a number of suggestions on the Twitters, most of them for fairground attractions. It's got to be perfect, but I've looked at the chords and they don't make any sense. So even the website I looked at, I was like,
I was quite fond of what she called Eddie Reader. That was a great song. Great song. Is a great song. I like it.
And she's gone on to do great things as Eddie Reader. She's a fantastic voice in contemporary folk pop. But I didn't do that. No, I went for Loudon Wainwright instead. I don't know if you're a fan of Loudon Wainwright.
The father of Martha and Rufus. Yeah.
The son of Loudon Wainwright II.
Yeah, and presumably the grandson of Loudon Wainwright I.
Who probably wasn't called the first within his lifetime, was he? Probably.
No, just like we don't need a 1 when we have the chemical formula CO2 or the algebraic equation x plus 2y equals 4z, for example.
That's exactly what we needed. Anyway, a bit of Loudon Wainwright. I slept through the night, I got through to the dawn. I flipped a switch and the light went on. I got out of bed and I put some clothes on. It was a pretty good day so far. I turned the tap, there was cold, there was hot. I put on my coat to go to the shop. I stepped outside, I didn't get shot. It was a pretty good day so far. I didn't hear any sirens or explosions. No mortars coming in from those heavy guns. No UN tanks, I didn't see one. It's a pretty good day so far. No snipers in windows taking a peek. No people panicked running scared through the streets. I didn't see any bodies without arms, legs or feet. It was a pretty good day. There was plasma bandage and electricity. Food, wood and water, and the air was smoke-free. No camera crews from ITV. And it was all such a strange sight to behold. Nobody was frightened, wounded, hungry or cold. And the children seemed normal, they didn't look old. Pretty good day so far. I walked through a park and you would not believe it. There in the park there were a few trees left, and on some branches there were a few leaves. I slept through the night, I got through to the dawn. I flipped a switch and the light went on. I wrote down my dream and I made it this song. It's a pretty good day so far.
Oh my word, Ed, you are wonderful. I think Energy Divine L is loving that, and so are everybody else. So is everybody else who listened to that. You have a beautiful voice, a beautiful, that was a nice guitar sound as well. Lovely.
That's my little Spanish style. I bought that one in a junk shop in Oxford for £5
Yes.
when I was a teenager, and it still sounds great.
I'll tell you who was good on Saturday night in Camden Town at the Electric Ballroom. A fellow Oxford, well, like
Gaz. Was it
Gaz
Yeah,
Coombs.
Gaz Coombs.
He had a good
I sold him a
band.
sandwich. I sold him a sandwich. That's
He's
my claim to fame.
Yeah, he was quite a good raconteur. Actually, he told some good stories about where his songs came from and stuff like that, and quite funny. It was good. It was nice. That was good. It was good to break. Nothing against the Bug Club, who I obviously love. It was good to break my Bug Club obsession gig wise. So next gig is going to be with the very wonderful Richard Newbold.
Oh, yes.
And the even more wonderful Lucy Hartman, who he's known as Von Sock on here. So that's good. Going to see the Primitives 35-year anniversary tour of Lovely, the lovely, jangly, indie, poppy, slightly Jesus and Mary Chainey in places album from 1987 or 1988, maybe, if it's 35 years. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. End of May, that is. All good. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Thank you, Ed, for being perfect in every way.
Good night, all.
Good.
Sleep well.
Good night, all. We'll speak about something else next week. Who knows what? Okay, take care. I can't play the outlet music, outro music, so we'll just say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Good night.